Okay. Do we have a 360-degree stream? That is the question. All new stuff. I'll turn some more light on so people can see a little bit. You can see the entire room. Turn the sound off so we don't get any feedback. Aha! There we go. Let's just check the sound does work. Even if we do get some feedback. Yeah, here you go. Cool, guys. So we have a 360-degree screen. It's pretty low res, and I've realized I can't do this at the same time as actually producing course videos, unfortunately, because I would need to use 360-degree screens of OBS. So I'll have to do this on my Mac if we like it. But do you like it? This is a brand new thing. Let's see what it's like. I'm going to just go drum up a little bit of interest in a 360-degree stream for us right now and just see if people... Firstly, I need to check that it works on a incognito browser so that the public can get to it. Yes, they can. Wicked. And then I need to make sure that it went out on Twitter, as that's one way. Join my experiment. That's on Twitter. Awesome. Then another place to go get some interest might be over on the forum. So say hello in the chat, guys. I don't even know if the chat is working. I'll pop it out and I'll leave it real close to the camera over there. Hey, sound works. So the sound quality won't be amazing because I'm using that, but that's better than this thing being in my mouth. Is the sound quality okay? Just let me know that. It would be really handy to know, because I'm kind of using the real built-in sound. It gives you more realistic sound, because if I get close to you, that was probably scary, then it looks, and it should sound a bit more consistent. Anyway, I'm going to go and mention this on the forum. Everyone... join me live now in 360-degree video over on YouTube as an experiment. Boom, there you go. How cool's that? Hello. So I just thought I'd try it. Anyway, why not give it a go? I could leave this running a lot of the time when I'm working. It could get a little bit boring, but I'm just sitting here making content for the Unity RPG. I know that you can't really see what's on my screen properly with this, but you can get a very good idea of how and where I work. So I'm sitting here, microphone there, cameras. You can't see over my monitor, of course. It might be a bit better now. I have an iPad here which helps me know what my next slides are coming up. Most of what I focus on is on the screen, of course. I have my repository here telling me where my videos are, etc. But yeah, I just thought I'd try it. Am I seeing a door and a window? I hope you're seeing a door and a window. Oh, scroll the video. Drag and scroll the video. You can just move it around to whatever you want. It's the maximum resolution, I'm afraid, of this. Going down and coming back up. So let me know, guys, if that's any better, if that audio is any better synced. So this is an experiment. How is it? Let's just look in the lounge. By the way, if you guys on YouTube aren't using the Discord server, then I'll give you a Discord invite. So the audio is not synced with the video. I'll just try clapping my hands. Tell me if it's synced now. The audio should have just got better because I don't want to. I've just switched to this microphone. So there you go. It's not synced though. Yeah, okay. Still not synced. I'm not sure what to do about that. Why would it not be synced? I think I know what it is. The theta is coming through USB and is taking a while to get processed. So I would probably need to do something like, I don't even know if it's possible, to delay the audio, but that sounds a little bit advanced. Like a second delay. That's really helpful to know that it's a second. Let me just see if there's an OBS setting that lets me delay the sound. That would be pretty cool if there is. Streaming, audio, doesn't seem to be there. Here you go. Oh no, push to mute delays. No, that's not it. Yeah, I can look into that, guys. Oh, stream delay, estimated memory usage, duration. No, that delays the whole stream. I don't think I can delay my audio. Anyway, cool. Yeah, I think it is exactly that. It's due to the real-time stitching of the 360 degrees. So the theta F, you can see everything. So the theta S is plugged into the PC there, and then it's running some software that is stitching the two weird spherical images that it actually produces. It's just got two lenses. The only thing you can't see in this room is the theta S itself. Theta S, by the way, looks like this. It's not the most advanced of 3D cameras, but it's this thing here. And yeah, it's one of those. And I've just got that all set up and working. It's just you talk without moving your mouth, and you move your mouth a second later. Yeah. Will you make the YouTube channel available for Romania? I will make the YouTube channel available in every country that it is possible to make it available for. Unfortunately, Romania, I think, is not one of those at the moment. But thanks for asking. So I could do plenty of this stuff and just get on with my work. Unfortunately, I can't get on with my work right now because I use OBS to record videos, and it's a completely different profile to my screencast that I'd normally be recording. Although I could just switch over into screencast. Does the Theta S take a lot of room? No, not really. One other direction you can't really see is fully downwards, but I've just got a little tiny desktop tripod here, and that is what's being used. So no, it's pretty simple. In fact, I can probably do something clever like this and switch scenes. There you go. I think this will work. Oh, can you see it? I'll switch the camera. There you go. That's the thing. It's on a tripod. It looks like that. I think that's working. So, yeah. The mic I'm using right here, I'm using the sorry about moving that around. The Rode Podcasters, this thing here that I'm using. So actually, has this stream seamlessly switched now to you seeing a webcam, a non-360 degree view? Because if it has, then it's probably really weird now, the video. Let's just have a look at my own live stream. Yeah, it will look funny now because it will have switched. Let me just see if I can take it live. Oh, yeah, wow. That is proper funny. Okay. Yeah, that is very, very funny. Okay, funny's fine, but not good. So obviously we can't dual broadcast 360 degree and non-360 degree stream. That makes a lot of sense because, well, YouTube's trying to process a video that is a 360 degree video into, and it's not. So that's what's going on there. Cool. So next time I do this, I will try and fix the delay. That stuff in the roof is not really that necessary. Just got a halogen light bulb track, and I've got a really loud speaker in the corner. It's something called a DeVLA Phantom. It's that white thing. I'll show you over here. This is a 4. And that thing in the corner there is a 4,500 watt speaker, which is quite crazy. So, yeah, these things are just to try and absorb some of the reverberations to try and make the sound quality a bit better. Keeps my energy levels up. It's all pretty cool. I've also got a standing desk, of course, so I can just go up in the world, which I'll do now with you. Oh, this is a squat. And we've also, over here, of course, got all the lights that live like that. I can turn them on with a remote control, which is somewhere here. I just grab this remote, hit the button, and nothing happens. Perfect demo. Oh, well. Normally the rear lights would come on, but there you go. It's magic. So yeah, that's the lighting. This is where you see us do our talking heads. We do them against this this white backdrop here. So yeah, that's the setup. It's pretty fun. It's pretty cool being able to do a 360 degree stream like this. I better go back to the lounge. Yeah, great. So you do anything like that, and people are all over it. I'm not really doing an AMA here. I am actually, believe it or not, shipping content into the RPG. I am just taking a quick break between videos. It's been very complicated, actually, the RPG. Let me show you the... no, not now, because you're not going to see my screen properly. You might be able to see enough of it, so just let me see what you can see of my screen. Go live on my own video. Not a lot, really, from there, can you? It's a bit rubbish. Yeah, there's a lot of reflection. It's not going to be great trying to look at my screen, so I won't show you the RPG right now. But anyway, it's coming on very nicely. And I've got a massive piece of paper here with a plan of all the different bits of our prototype I've got to pull into the game. So this is keeping me really busy. In fact, I'm about to record a new lecture called "Help Writing Physics Code." We're going to make a windmill spin, and we're going to be talking about how do you work out how many degrees how do you make a variable called degrees per second, and then work out what the calculation should be. So turn the backlight off. Okay, I will turn the backlight off. Boom. That has gone. Always pray to the demo gods, yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it, this 360 degree? If we like it a lot, I'll get a higher res 360 degree camera sometime. See, I'm thinking of, if I live stream production, I'm thinking of doing it this way rather than the actual screen, because doing the actual screen is kind of giving the product away. It's a bit... It's a bit confusing as to where you should take our product. Obviously, you should take it on YouTube Premium or Udemy. And this would give you a lot more interesting view, especially when Sam or Mike are working over there, which they aren't on the weekend. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. What do you guys think? Do you want me to stream in 360 degrees like this? I'd have to set my Mac up to do it, I think. But oh, I see. The monitor's more visible if you turn the backlight off. Yeah, there's probably 101 ways I can make this monitor more visible, to be honest, if you want to be able to see the monitor. We can probably, firstly, make sure you're not in the stitching plane of the 3D camera, i.e. where the two lenses meet, there's a stitch. I could probably turn that off as well, probably make loads of difference, and close this blind a bit. Hang on. Yeah, all those things may help a bit, but really, actually it's made it worse because the overall gain of the video's got worse. Yeah, so this is really easy for me. If I get this set up with the Mac over there, then I can just slam this on and start live streaming anytime. So if you want to see what goes on behind the scenes, there will be a lot of... I've rated this as not necessarily suitable for kids. That's the only thing, because when a video goes wrong, I might just swear a lot. I'm just going to bring this desk down. It's cool. It's an electronic automatic standing desk. It's actually an old kitchen table of a friend of mine's. And then we've put a special base on it that makes it electronically adjustable, which is pretty cool. So let's just catch up with the chat. Yeah, no, I can't make it available in Romania. Yes, that was funny. Black screen? Oh, somebody's got a black screen. I think most people haven't got a black screen. Restarting work. What do you think about the Nintendo Switch? Don't know yet. IGN didn't just rate it amazingly well when I had a look earlier. But what do they know? They said it was a kind of jack of all trades, master of none. If I remember, they gave it a 7 rating. That's the IGN Switch review there. Can you see my screen? You can kind of vaguely see what's on the screen, I guess. And you can vaguely see that there is a chat there. Okay, I can see what you can see. This would have to be really high res for you guys to see everything properly. It's 1080p spherical. Yeah. Okay, well, that's as good as it gets. Michael Bridges, you can't really see anything with the 360. Okay. Well, you won't be able to see anything on the screen. We've understood that, and that's part of the deal, is that the idea here is that you can go just see the general pattern of how I work. There are possibilities for being able to see the screen better in the long term. One is I might be able to work out how to overlay the actual screen in OBS. So you have the screen here. It's possible that I could take the screen capture, i.e. This thing, where is it? Display capture. And take the display capture and pop it. Now, it's not going to work right now, but you get the idea that that could potentially sit over the monitor. Now, if that was distorted properly, then let's see what that looks like. Probably very silly. You still won't have a sufficient resolution. We're going to need fundamentally, if you're going to see a 1080p screen wrapped into a 360-degree area, we're going to need at least a 4K stream in order for you to be able to see it. But how does this look? Kind of weird, right? Yeah, I think that's not working. Yeah, 360-degree overlay. Oh, yeah, okay, that's pretty funny. I like that. Live, but yeah, it's really confusing OBS. In fact, it's like kind of we've got streamception going on now. Let's just put something more plain on my screen for a second. Yeah, oh, yeah, this is all fun. So it's not really production, so I need to get back to that in a moment. But anyway, an idea is that we could, have display capture over the top somehow, potentially. I couldn't find a suitable distortion overlay to make that work. But anyway, I'll go back to the forum. Oh, sorry, the chat server, the Discord server. See if I got any other questions over there. And then I will get on with some work. I wish I could just hit the button and start working now, but I can't because I'm consuming OBS. But as I say, the solution's the Mac. Over my shoulder would be better. Oh, tricky. Oh, excuse the fart sounds. One sec. Now you're asking. Now you're asking. Hang on. Over my shoulder would be best. I think you're right. I think that it would mean a tripod, a full-size tripod over here. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do it now because I need a long USB cable. I need a tripod there. It's kind of going to make me pretty hemmed in with gear if we do that. Grasshopper's asking, can I recommend some intermediate advanced books that are fun to read, won't make you fall asleep for C# game development? For C# specifically, not really. Different people fall asleep for different reasons, you know. I love games like Game Engine Architecture and Game Programming Patterns, these two puppies here. They don't make me fall asleep, but they might make you fall asleep. So there you go. Any other questions? Hey, Mikey. Oh, I'm out of sequence here. Over your shoulder. Yeah, so I'll consider over my shoulder. Going to need longer cables. Going to need a second machine dedicated to doing this live streaming and stitching. I wonder how much of my machine's beef this dude is consuming. Let's have a little look. Shouldn't be too bad, the stitching. It's about 30% of a pretty powerful CPU. Yeah, it is going some. A lot of that's OBS, actually. So half of the overhead is OBS, half of the overhead is this stitching of the videos. So, yeah, it's a reasonable strain on the machine. I think I would use a separate machine. Is there a second monitor? Yeah, I don't have two monitors. One of the reasons I don't have two monitors is... this isn't a second monitor. This is an iPad Pro sitting here. And actually, you can use it as a second monitor. Very easily. What you do is you use a program called... Mikey would help me out here, I'm sure. I've completely forgotten what it's called because I don't use it very often. Duet. There's a program called Duet which will make the iPad Pro through USB work almost exactly like a second monitor. But no, this is just an iPad Pro. One of the reasons I don't go for second monitor is because, despite the fact I only ever work standing here, my whole goal, one of the goals I had many years ago, was to make sure that I could work, in principle, from anywhere in the world. In fact, I've got this harebrained idea of working from my car when we get the new car some of the time. And I want to get to focus on a single screen workflow. An iPad actually is okay, as far as I'm concerned, because I could put that somewhere like in a hotel room or a car. But I want to try and stay with a single screen workflow so that's what I'm used to and that's where I'm able to work. I mean, obviously, if I start live streaming like this and I've got this arm that holds the microphone, we're ending up with a lot of stuff. But I still want to try and hold on to that dream that I can work from anywhere when realistically I never do. So is object pooling part of the Unity RPG? Almost certainly, Herr Swartz. Not right now, but what we've done, in terms of if you want some nice programming concepts for the RPG, let me just tell you what we've got so far. In the previous section, we had the observer pattern using delegates in C#. I am going to be showing you how to use coroutines properly. You know, instead of invoke and revoke repeating, we're going to be using proper use of direct coroutines. Interfaces for damage in the RPG is going to be common. We're going to have a damage broadcasting system, and that's... Well, actually, it's not going to broadcast. It's going to use interfaces. So what will happen is like an enemy or a trap door or a piece of glass or a dead body even can subscribe to the damageable, can conform to the damageable interface, and then we'll pass a damage struct that allows us to have poison or fire damage or standard damage and all that type of stuff. So that'll be cool. Object pooling, I presume you're talking about for pools of objects that get spawned and destroyed. Is that the sort of thing you mean? We'll do that if necessary. So yeah, that's that. Best done in recording could be best done separately. What are we doing here? What's in your setup boosts your productivity the most? What boosts productivity? Not doing live streams and getting on with the videos boosts my productivity. I don't think you need that second machine for streaming. Just get 8 cores and 16 threads. Yeah, that's true potentially if I can run 2 copies of OBS at the same time. I'm not sure we can. This might break everything. Let's find out. This is an experimental stream after all. The problem maybe we have 2 copies of OBS running. I don't know. I'll try it. Let me just try something. Start recording. Skibbity-beepity. Recording on OBS 2. La-di-da-di-da. Okay, now let's see if that recorded. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to exit OBS because I think it'll exit both OBSs. Both seem to be running. Did they record? Let's look at my recording file. Recording. Skibbity-beepity. Recording on... Okay. The machine did seem to handle it. So which CPU? 4700K, I think, is what I've got in here. And yeah, I could go to more cores. I mean, at the moment, I'm not having a problem, to be honest. It's not an issue. So I could actually record the next video so that I am both live streaming and getting on with my work. That would be awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you, Merzin. Was it Merzin who said that? Somebody said you may not need a second machine. Yeah, Selene? Selene. Anyway, thank you, Selene. You're quite right. And yeah, I'm sure Mikey would second the 6700K. He likes those. I'd need a whole new motherboard and stuff. But anyway, not running into problems at the moment. So, random question. How do I take care of my eyes? I'm lucky I have pilot eyes. They work. Although my near point of vision, how near I can focus, is quite a long way away, as I was discovering at lunch with Mikey yesterday. How do I take care of them? I never sit still. You can probably see that. I look out in the garden a lot. I get up every 10 minutes to go for a pee. That'd be one of the things if we live stream. I'd have to have something entertaining to do when I leave the room every 5 minutes for a pee. Yeah, I keep things at a reasonable distance, at least at arm's length most of the time. So yeah, my favourite RPG is probably Diablo. Full RPG. It depends what you call an RPG, I guess. I'm loving Horizon Zero Dawn on the PC right now. I loved Skyrim, of course. Standard stuff, very boring taste. If I had unlimited, I am working. I don't have unlimited resources, but I am kind of working always on my dream projects, which is great. You guys seem to ask for stuff that's really interesting, and this RPG is being really interesting. So no, Horizon Zero Dawn on the PS4. It's PS4 only. So, yeah, if I said PC, I just said the wrong thing. Oh, am I still sending rubbish? I mean, obviously, everything I'm sending is rubbish, but I meant, am I sending 360 video? I think I am sending 360 video. That is cool. All right, so I'm going to close that. So, yeah, this is quite an interesting hybrid. Watching on YouTube, chatting on the lounge. How's my videos doing? They have actually finished processing. This is our bespoke system that helps us get things to Udemy. Thanks for setting that up, Sam. So I now need to go ahead and get the next video done. Do I enjoy working while standing? I enjoy changing. That's what I enjoy doing. I tend to stand up when I do a video. I enunciate better when I stand up. I can do more kind of hand-wavy stuff. And then I tend to sit down when I get to edit. Well, why don't we do it? Come on, I'm going to just shut up and actually do some work. How many cups of coffee? Listen, this is what I think about coffee. You need to turn the camera 180 as the seam is between you and the monitor. Okay. 180. You can't mean 180. That would put it back in exactly the same deal. You probably mean 90, right? The seams should be here. The seam should be there and there. So I think the seam is in a good place, Gavin. I can't see that moving it will help. But let me move it 90 degrees. See if you prefer that. I don't think ultimately it makes any difference. The only place that's a bit weird is in this plane here. Oh, you're saying I should move it so that it is between me and my monitor. I think that's what you're saying, Gavin, and I just have. So, and it's 90 degrees, I need to move it to do that. All right, let's try that. Okay, I am going to answer the question about coffee. I do drink coffee. I never used to. I used to, think that coffee was only tasty because it's addictive. And probably still true. It's a pesticide ultimately. My feeling is that use coffee to wake up, not to stay up. So I have one when I wake up in the morning. That helps me get going quicker. It makes me more likely to exercise in the morning. But then, crucially, what I do is after lunch, I always go to bed and I meditate and I sleep if I need to for anywhere between half an hour and 2 hours. And then to wake up quicker, to get over the sleep inertia, I use coffee again. But I try and avoid ever using coffee to stay up because I think that the unhealthy thing about it is when you're using it to deprive yourself of sleep that you would otherwise have. So hope that works. Or makes sense. All right, I'm actually going to make this video now, so I need to just think about it. I don't know how these live streams are going to go. They could get really boring when I start actually working. And what screen res is that? Well, in my screen in front of me, it's 2560 by 1440. But it's not right now. See, what happens is when I'm working, I use 2560 1440 like so, and then I've obviously got more space on the screen. So here's the display settings windows for reference. And then when I go to record, if I try to record at 2560 1440, it would be a problem for you guys because there's too much on the screen. The screen would become quite unclear. In terms of, not because, what I mean is there's too much going on the screen at 2560 when we're trying to do tutorials. So in fact, you're making me think I could leave it at 2560 1440 and change the display scaling. But Windows probably will work in Windows 10. But anyway, what we do for the actual recording is we go down to 1920 by 1080 so that there's less on the screen. And I'm scaled to 125% in general as well. Somewhere, wherever the scaling is at this level, I think. Yeah. So that kind of answers your question, but actually you have just made me think, which is that I could run my monitor at native. I'm not going to change this now because it would change my production process, but I could run my monitor at native res and then go to at least 150 or 175% scaling. This is what we used to do on the Mac, and it does seem to display all right. So if I did that, you would have sharper video. Not on Udemy, because they cap out at 1080p. In fact, right now they're capping out at 720p because of a bug. But on the YouTube channel, then you could look at least 1440p. We're even thinking of doing 4K. But regardless, if we go to this type of res, we would still scale up the screen so that it's not too busy for you. But I think for the moment, it's not worth just a little bit of an increase in sharpness. We're going to get massively larger file sizes doing it. And until poor old Rick in Australia moves to a sensible country where he's got real upstream, that would kill him. It's bad enough as it is. So yeah, I run 1080p while recording, and then I run 2560 1440 when I am not recording. Good catch there. I have iced tea for that. What, iced tea? Have iced tea? Oh, I see. Iced tea wakes you up. Yeah, not iced tea as in the wrapper. I get it. All right, so how's it better 1080p in terms of workflow? Getting a 4K screen or a 1440p ultra wide. Oh, look, so if you guys aren't recording videos, then the more screen space, the better, basically. Is 1440p or 4K 27-inch better? I love both. Mikey's got an ultra wide. I tried it. It's nice and wide on the desk. It's cool. One of the things that's really cool about it is that when you snap to browser windows either side of the screen, you get full width on both, so I like that. It's a little bit narrow. You could be using more of your vertical field of view, so come on, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. If you get too big, like a massive TV, you're moving your head around, just have plenty of pixels, and, you know, consider a second screen. A second screen is fundamentally different to two screens because of the way windowing works in reality, you know, this snapping and stuff like that. Tea versus coffee versus milk. Versus milk. I have coffee with no milk, and I have tea with milk. So, but, yeah. All right. I am going to crack on with this. So the last video is on Udemy, and standardizing scene setup is all done. Video 15. Next, I have my next video planned already. It is help writing physics code. So we're going to talk about how importing asset packs affects your project, bringing objects to life with script-based rotation rather than the animator, how to use unit consistency to help you code. That'll be fun. A challenge for you, which I need to get up on the second screen, actually. So I go on... It's not a second screen, it's a second desktop. Right spin me, the windmill blade should rotate at run RPM, and hint, use dimensional checking to help you. Okay, cool. So there's my challenge set up. Over on the iPad down here, and it's really cool that you can see all this, I've got what I'm doing in the video. I'm going to take all this stuff. I pop all this into a text file, like so, which OBS reads from. Now, I need to do a bit of a test and make sure that this second copy of OBS is going to work. Screencast. This is very weird, having two copies like this. So I'm going to leave this one, which is the one that's streaming, and then have this puppy here. Yep, seems to be working. Okay, quick recording test then. Here we are, live streaming and running a second copy of OBS in order to record the videos with my overlay. I'm just going to check and see, firstly, if it's stable, and secondly, if the computer is going to completely drop a bollock, to use a technical term. It is slightly unhappy with me at this point. I think it's either going to be a more powerful machine. Again, this pushes me away from my work anywhere, right? Because I don't know of any laptops that have 6 cores yet. I have a 4790K. Yeah, I think it might be a question of a second machine. We'll see. All right, anyway, so end of test. Just going to watch that recording back. 1636. Okay, quick recording test then. Here we are, live streaming and running a second copy of OBS in order to record the videos with my overlay. I'm just going to check and see, firstly, if it's stable, and secondly, if the computer is going to completely... I've got a good recommendation for speakers, guys. You're asking about good equipment. These puppies here, you can actually read probably on the YouTube video. They're Alesis 520 USBs. They're not that expensive, less than £200. I said it's still expensive, but they're studio monitor quality with no messing around with amps or anything. Built-in amps, USB studio monitors. Really helps me hear how the videos are coming out. So that is pretty fun. All right, so that worked crazily enough. Whether it's going to work when we start actually getting Unity involved in the mix, we'll see. All right, so next step for this video production is I go back to my repository. We make sure that the state of my Unity folder is precisely what... hang on. I've got a difference between... No, that's good. Precisely what I last left the student with, which it is. Then I go and open Unity. Skibbity-bibbity, skibbity-bibbidoo. I love this RPG, guys. It comes out on Thursday next week, and it is so many new programming concepts. So you big, important stuff, interfaces, delegates, patterns like the observer pattern. It just goes on. I've forgotten half the things, but coroutines, all this sort of stuff that really, really enable you to handle complexity. Anyway, Rick has been very busy, bless him, making his scene, and it's looking pretty good. He's got all these cool sketches in it. I don't know how much you can see, but basically there's a village scene here all set up. What I did in the last video is get it set up so that when you start a new scene as a team, we just click and say, tell us all the things you need to put in a new scene. There they are. They're all tagged. We use the asset tags with scene setup. You drop them in, delete anything else that was in the scene and play. And immediately you've got your third person camera, you've got your camera raycaster, you've got your movable, you've got your variable cursors, you've got your UI, you've got everything working in a brand new scene, which I think is pretty cool and a very simple way of doing it. Anyway, what am I doing in this video? We're going to simply make this windmill over here spin, actually, in this video, because it's going to cover lots of factors like importing asset packs once you've already got assets, and also mainly talking about dimensional correctness and units and stuff. Bit of physics for you. So that's going to be fun. Let me get open the relevant web page. Boom. All right, I'm going to try and record it while you guys are watching. I have a last check of the... last check of this. Yeah, it's going to be very cool, the RPG. So that's that. Now, where's the other thing I need to check? Oh, it's all complicated now. This is fun. That's the stuff I sound up for. Yeah, exactly, Tom. All that sort of stuff. It's all in the RPG already, or most of it. Do you mean meditate? Do you meditate then sleep, sleep then meditate, or sleep and meditate? What I do is I have lunch, I get predictably dopey and grumpy and useless, and instead of being grumpy or dopey or useless, or worse, self-destructive, I go to bed, earplugs in if the kids are screaming, and I just count my breaths. What I do actually is I use my fingers and breath counting. So I just count every 10 breaths, I just count. I don't force the breath. Each breath, I just count to 10. And when I get to 10, I put a finger up. Just wherever they're sitting, where I'm lying, I just put a finger up to say I've done 10. And then I just count to 10 again. 1. And when I hear myself get to 10, so that I don't even have to think beyond counting to 10, I put another finger up. And it basically, if all fingers end up by the time, which means 10 loads of 10, if all my fingers are up, then I'm not going to sleep, am I? So I've meditated and I just get up. I often kind of wake up an hour or two later, feeling like I'm recovering from an autopsy. It's like, I come down the stairs like, and then, stick some coffee in, move around, get on the rebounder, wake up a little bit, and then get some music going. And that's a way to get the energy up. In fact, right at this very instance, I probably ought to be getting the energy up. Now, I've been asked not to play crazy frog music. So that saddens me because I don't like crazy frog music anyway, of course, because that's immature. So let's try loud focus music. This camera is that speaker is unbelievably loud, by the way, Mikey. Okay, just getting my energy up. You probably can't hear anything I'm saying because it's far too loud. Okay, cool, I'm ready to go. I don't know if that's helping me concentrate or not helping me concentrate, but regardless, I need to be getting on with it. So there's a lot of kicking my poor old lizard brain into action with this. I've been recording videos for some years now. I'm doing pretty well at it, but I'm still scared stiff every time I stick my microphone on and get ready to go, because the more customers I have and the more expectations there are, the higher the standard I think I have to achieve. And I'm very aware that I need to just keep saying, stuff it, let's get on with it. It's not going to feel as good as I think it could be, but as far as you guys are concerned, hopefully it's good enough or you wouldn't be watching and participating. So, final check that the repo is in the right state and there's no strange uncommitted changes. And we are good to go. So let's tell the correct version of OBS, and let's go. Okay guys, so welcome back. What we're going to be doing here then is starting by talking about the implications of importing new assets into a scene that already has assets in them. So for most of the objects in Rick's environment, if we just flick through them while focusing on the transform over in the inspector there, you'll see that nearly all of them have a scale of 1, 1, 1. They are unscaled objects, right? Now that's quite important because let's look at the windmill. It has some scaling applied to it. Well, you'd think, so what? The problem with that is we can't instantly update that model without causing a scaling issue. Let me show you. I've provided you with this video a pack that will allow you to use the windmill. So it's called windmill.unity package. So if I bring windmill.unity package into your project, into my project, and you can go and get that and do that for yourself. Firstly, I want to tell you something about the way these packages import. If you're taking a package that you don't understand or that you've not seen before, you want to look at this very carefully before you click the word import. Because it is going to use absolute path names and it's going to overwrite any assets you have in the file system where it's showing you on the screen. And it's telling me actually it's going to add a new handful of materials and it's going to add a new spinme.cs script in the utility folder, whether I like it or not. And then it's also going to update a few things. It's going to update, which are these little black arrows, a few other materials. Okay, now I'm going to let this happen in this case. I'm going to update the windmill. Why? Just before I do, I'll show you why. If we look at the current windmill in the scene, which is an older version of the art asset, it is a single mesh. And because it's a single mesh, I haven't got a snowball's chance in hell of rotating this windmill by script because it is all a single mesh. All right. So the idea is that we split that out and maybe made some other improvements to the windmill. Doesn't matter where in your assets you drag that Unity package. When I import, it comes in, it overwrites everything. Now watch what happens to this windmill. It's not going to look pretty. Boom. Not so clever. Now that's because of that the scaling. So it's okay. In this instance, we noticed it and we can just scale back to 1, 1, 1 and we're all good. But imagine there were lots of windmills all over the massive scene. If they had scaling, they would have taken on that scaling and ended up distorted, which isn't ideal. All right, so that's why we keep our top level objects with the scale 1, tending to put our colliders on there, any scripts on there, and then we have sub-objects holding all the meshes as needed. Cool. So that's the first part of the video. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about bringing objects to life with script-based rotation. Now, for any exciting animation of these sails, which by the way are now separate objects, if I now go to the blades, sub-object of the windmill and do a rotation in Z, look, the windmill spins because it's able to do that, provided the pivot point, which is something you'll have to talk to your artist about, is in the correct place, which it is in this case. If you're going to animate this guy, obviously normally you just use the animator, right? But in some instances, it's easier just to use a script to animate this. And you may want to also script some behavior. So there's two options to moving things. Just be very clear on what's moving it, whether it's a script or whether it is the animator. In this case, we're going to use a script. All right. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we go about writing this script and about a useful tool based on something called dimensional analysis. Now that sounds complicated. I've linked you it in your resources. Here's the Wikipedia page on it. It's not actually dimensional analysis we're doing. The idea of dimensional analysis is that in a physics formula, you must have the same units on both the left-hand side and the right-hand side. You've got to compare apples to apples, meters to meters, meters per second to meters per second, etc. All right, we're not really talking about dimensions or SI base units here. We're just talking about units because we're going to be talking about things like degrees per second when this thing spins. And degrees, strictly speaking, is a dimensionless quantity, but it does have a unit. It's called a degree, but it doesn't have a dimension. So don't worry about the very details of dimensions versus units versus SI units. That doesn't matter. What I want to show you when we get into this utility script, which you'll find in the utility folder called SpinMe, is I just want to show you an approach to use unit consistency of units to help you code. All right, so here's the outline of the script that I've written and provided for you. It's a very simple script. Arguably, we don't need the system collections and systems generic. They come automatically with all new scripts and they're gray because they're not currently being used. But it's a public class SpinMe. I've got 3 exposed parameters. Now in this course, we're growing up. We're not making member variables public basically at all unless there's a very, very good reason. We're sticking to proper object-oriented design, but we are using Unity's serialized field option here in order to expose these things to the inspector. And what we're doing is we're putting this SpinMe script on the actual blades themselves here. And you see it's exposing X rotations, Y rotations and Z rotations per minute. I've put some default values in, 5 rotations per minute for the main blades, and I've also put a bit of a rotation on the Y axis. I'm actually going to just change that to 1. The reason you'll see in a minute when you've got your script working, our game's about funny, right? Our RPG's theme is funny, and if this just goes round in a completely uniform way, it's not going to be very funny. But if it goes round and it's slightly wobbling, it's going to make the player just, even if they can't quite see the whole windmill when they're moving around in the world, they're going to look at it and think, what's funny about this windmill? What's going on here? And that's what we want. We want to set a tone of unease, of strangeness. So that's an example of the design leading everything in the game. Anyway, let's get into these dimensions. What I want you to do in the challenge coming up in a moment is to complete this code that's in front of us. And instead of, obviously, the X degrees per frame that we set every frame, it's not going to be 0, it's going to be some calculation. And it's going to involve degrees, rotations per minute, and things like 360 degrees and 60 minutes, seconds per minute, and this type of stuff. But the question comes, how do you work out what that formula should be? Well, one way is to think about what the units are. So what I tend to do is write a comment and say, well, if I'm trying to get degrees per frame, and I write this like this, degrees, and then frame to the power of -1. That's, remember, to the power of -1 is like saying over, but instead of trying to do divides and stuff, which are really confusing, we keep it all on one line without any divides, because otherwise it's very, very hard to reason about. So degrees per frame, I write like that. And so I know I've got degrees per frame I want to get on the left-hand side. What are the constituent factors? Well, they're going to be things like this. We're going to be talking about, it's pretty obvious that to make this spin at a constant speed, we're going to need time.delta time, the frame time. So what's that? That is seconds per frame, all right? That's time.delta time. Now, is this working? Yes, frames to the -1 on the left and the right. Degrees we're going to have to find from somewhere. Well, what else have we got? We've got degrees per rotation. Okay, so degrees per rotation, like that. So you write down degrees per rotation. Now, it's going to be on the top as well, because degrees per frame, this is actually what we want to end up with, degrees per frame. We're going to need to get rid of the seconds and the per rotation at some point. So I'm not going to completely hold your hand here because I think you can think this through, but we're going to have something like time.delta time. And that's the frame time. And then it's going to be something like 60 seconds. Oh, sorry, 1 second. The time.delta time will be here. There you go. Degrees per frame is what we're going to want coming out on the left-hand side. So I'm just pseudo-coding here. We're going to multiply that by something like 60, which is the degrees per rotation. You've also got to think about the number of degrees in a circle. So that is, the number of seconds in a minute as well. So remember that ultimately we're trying to be able to set this parameter in rotations per minute. Now, this has become very unclear there. So I haven't rehearsed this bit, so I'm going to back up there. I'm going to stop recording on the correct OBS. That's that one there. I'm going to check in and see how long. I'm also going to ask you guys to go to the chat in a second, so hang on. So I just started waffling there. So what I'm going to do is, the rest of it was fine, and then I got in here and then started waffling like mad. So how to use unit consistency, that's the bit I need to rehearse. I'm going to look at my video to date, see how long it was before I went off the tracks. Basically, as soon as I came into that script, I'd only done 4 minutes. That's good. So the first 4 minutes is all right. Now, normally, if I stop a video and it hasn't worked, I just ditch the video and start again. But here, because I don't know what state of the project I've changed since I messed up. Because all of the messing up was done inside script, it's actually very easy in my version control just to say, okay, well, let's just revert anything that I have done to the spinme CS file. So I'm going to stage everything apart from spinme CS. Unstage that. Now, I tell you what, there's an easier way that's not going to work like this. The easier way is going to be just to re-import that package that I provided everybody with. So this is the hard work. This is where I have to start again, basically, on that part, because I can't be waffling like that and expect you guys to follow what I'm saying. So I'm just going to overwrite the spinme. It's not going to work, so just ditch the spinme. Now, if I get too what I call run out, in climbing terms here, run out means too far without protection effectively, then I would just start this whole video again. But at the moment, I'm feeling like I know what the state of the video is and that I'm not going to cause an inconsistency. So we're back into the same position of the script. I need to remember how I went into the script. I need to remember where I was in the video. So, yes. To use unit consistency of units to help you code. Okay, so I think I can just pick it up from there. Now I need to know what I'm going to say a bit better than that this time. Before I go any further, I will just see if there's anybody got any feedback or questions. Oh. Yeah, I would get spammed. You lost that video about a minute. Are you still got the video, I guess, is my next question. I could find out. Can I find out down here? No, I want that. Hang on. Let me have a look. I can look over here. Think. Live streaming. Behind the scenes, 360-degree view. The stream is offline. Oh, dearie me. Ah, yes, that's died, hasn't it? Probably important I can see that. Skibbity-bibbity, skibbity-bibbity. So let's see if I can recover this stream. Skibbity-bibbity. Aha, we might be back. Let's see. Are we back? Somebody let me know if we are back. I think we are. I think what happened is the camera just decided to turn itself off. No, I didn't. I won't notice, by the way, if I'm in the middle of recording. My priority is getting the content out for you guys, right? So we should be back. If somebody can confirm we're back, that would be great. And then I'll carry on with that video. Actually, I'm going to go and do one of those loo visits I talked about before. Famous loo visits. Join Ben live. Don't want notifications. Hey, we're back. By the looks of it. Yes, that's cool. All right. Awesome. And on the left. Yep. Okay. Fantastic. All right. I'm just going to quickly work out what I was supposed to be saying here. In fact, I'm going to go to the loo first. So I don't know what I do. What do I do while I leave? Do I just put music on? I guess I'll put some music on. It's better than nothing. All right. See you in a minute. Okie dokie. You may wonder why I wear headphones. It's so I can hear myself in the mic. I can tell whether how close I am, etc. So that's why I do that. All right, let's turn that music down a little bit. Although if I'm going to do a lot of live streaming, you guys might have to get used to the music. So I'll keep an eye on that camera, see if it turns itself off again. I am back. Elevator waiting music, indeed. You're going to need to get used to a lot of music. Okay. Pegged in classic rock kind of guy. Yeah, dudes, my music is just all over the shop. I like a bit of everything. So, yeah, it's just nuts. All right, I need to work out where I am with this video. So, just need to go back, see where I left it. We're going to need time.delta. And what we're doing is we're putting this spin me script on by completely an example of the design. And that's what we want. We want to set a tone of unease, of strangeness. So that's an example of the design leading everything in the game. Anyway, let's get into these dimensions. What I want you to do in the challenge coming up in a moment is to complete this. Okay, I just don't know what I'm going to write, so give me a sec. So, degrees per frame we're trying to get to. And it's going to be in terms of rotations per minute. So I'm just going to write down. I'll write it out once first. So how am I going to get this across in a way that makes sense? We're trying to say that we want the same units on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So that we know that on the left we have degrees per frame like this. So what we need to end up with is the same thing on the right-hand side. Now, what are the constituent parts of that? I'm not recording this, by the way. I'm rehearsing it. The constituent parts are things like the time.delta time. So let's be a bit more formal above. Degrees per frame on the left. We're going to have things like time.delta time or something. It doesn't matter if I spell it right. That's the benefit of pseudocode. We know that we're going to have 60 in there. We know we're going to have 360 in here. Just use commas. 60 seconds per minute, 360 degrees per revolution or per rotation. What else are we likely to need in here? That's probably it for the moment. Okay, so time.delta time is in what? What are the units of time.delta time? They are time, or seconds, per frame. All right, cool. So that's time.delta time. Then we somehow need to cancel out these seconds whilst keeping per frame on the top. So I've also got to explain this notation. How long have I got? 4 minutes into the video. I'm leaving these videos up to 15 minutes. I've got time to take it slowly. All right. So seconds per frame times seconds per minute. Okay. Times 360 degrees per rotation. Okay. Well, not necessarily times. I'm going to use commas because times is saying that I know the order, whereas commas is saying I don't yet know the order. So seconds per frame, 60 seconds per... No, time.delta time is in seconds per frame, 60 seconds per minute, 360 degrees per rotation. I need to eliminate minutes. Degrees per frame, seconds. It's going to have to divide by seconds per minute. Ah, of course, and I've also got rotations per minute. Okay, that's the point. We know that we're going to need to be in terms of rotations per minute. Now we work out whether these are divides or multiplies by cancelling through as necessary. So I need to end up with degrees on the top. So this guy's likely to be a times in front of that. I need to end up with frames on the bottom. So seconds per frame can stay where it is. I know that seconds need to cancel, and this guy is the only other second, so I know that it's going to be divided by seconds per minute. And the final thing is, what do I do with rotations? Well, I want the rotations per minute and I want rotations to cancel out, so therefore I need a multiply here The minutes to the -1 are going to cancel with that. Minutes to the -1. Yeah, I think that all works. Now, do I want to be putting divides in here? Because the moment we put divides in, we're then talking about operator precedences and BODMAS and all this type of stuff. Can I do it all in terms of... No, it's nearly impossible to do it in terms of multiplications. Let's just see if it works this way in this arbitrary layout. So x degrees per frame equals time.delta time divided by 60 seconds per minute times 360 degrees per rotation times x rotations per minute. Now, if that has worked, then what's the problem here? Float. Okay. See if this rotates at 5 RPM now properly. If it does, then that method of reasoning looks like it's going to work okay. Not spinning. Yeah, it's the wrong direction. We wanted the Z, but is this going to be 1 rotation per minute? Probably. Let's try it at 60. So 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Looks very silly. It's the right calculation. I think that this is stable in terms of divides and multipliers and operator precedences, so I can just show a very simple way of writing down all the things that you think are going to comprise the formula and then just deciding whether they need to be multiplies or divides based on whether they need to end up on the top or the bottom of the final thing. So I think that is going to work just fine. I'm going to go back, if my undo buffer will handle it. And yeah, it will. And then see if I can communicate that clearly. So, of you guys who are watching live, how horribly difficult to grasp does that stuff sound? It's going to come out a lot better, I hope, when I actually teach it in a moment. But what do you think? And need some water. Yeah, my maths is pretty good, but what I'm trying to do is I am trying to break it down. Yeah, it doesn't come off the top of my head with a complicated formula. It sometimes does with simple ones. So I'm trying to teach you guys a process of working out what these type of math formulas should be, so that it doesn't just require like talent, if you like. Everything is able to be broken down. So. Yeah, okay, all right, well, I'm going to try and communicate this now in the actual video, so let's see what happens. Mics are good. Start recording. Now, the camera hopefully will work and not crap out again, but if it does, well, I won't notice, so sorry. Okay, so what I'm going to want you to do is actually write some code and finish this class off. But firstly, let me introduce you to the class. We have 3 exposed variables using serialized fields so that they're not settable by other classes, and X, Y, and Z rotations per minute, defaulting to 1 rotation per minute, very slow. This spinme.cs is attached to the windmill blades, and the idea is that when the script is finished writing, it will rotate at 5 RPM in the Z-axis, which is the normal kind of windmill rotation axis like this, but it will also have a little bit of X rotation, or Y rotation, which will serve to make the thing wobble and look a bit strange, which is good fun. Now, how does this work? So we ultimately want to set the parameters in something very human, readable, rotations per minute. Our designer can come in here and very clearly go, yeah, 5 rotations per minute, RPM, you know, I know what this is. So that is a constraint we're putting on ourselves as programmers. We're saying that we want to put in RPM. All right. Then when it comes to, let's look at the other side of it, when we actually rotate around these 3 axes, transform.right, up, and forward, which is the way that you get the local local relative direction rather than the global direction. So we use right, up, and forward corresponding to X, Y, and Z. Why right, up, and forward? Look at the gizmo thingy here. Remember that right, well, right is a bit confusing because it's actually the opposite. Right and left sometimes you'll have to experiment with, but up and forward are quite obvious. Up is Y, and forward is the Z. And then actually, when you look at it like that, up is Y, forward is Z, and X is right. So that all ties together in terms of the handedness of the coordinate system very nicely. All right, so on the output, we're going to every frame say translate, rotate around the position of the thing. Well, the root of the blades is in the right place. The pivot point is in the right place at the base, well, at the pivot of the rotation. That is the position we rotate around. This is the axis we rotate around. And then we're going to want to rotate a certain number of degrees per frame. Well, that's constrained as well, because at the end of the day, that is what this method wants, right? It wants us to tell it the angle it's going to rotate. And of course, because we're inside the update loop, it is the angle that we're going to rotate in this frame. So we know that we need X degrees per frame coming out, and we have decided that we want X rotations per minute coming in. Therefore, our challenge is to write a formula here that is not 0 degrees per frame, because that's a very, very boring spin script, but it's to write a formula that gets the correct number of degrees per frame. So this is what you're going to need to do in the challenge that's coming up for you in a minute. Okay, but before we do that, let me equip you with the idea of using something similar to dimensional analysis, but much simpler to do this. Dimensional analysis, if you want to read about it, is linked in your lecture slides and is here on Wikipedia. And it talks about the fact that the left and the right-hand side of physical equations must have the same units on them. You need to compare apples to apples or meters to meters, oranges to oranges. You get the idea. I'm not doing dimensional analysis. I'm just making sure that the units of the thing on the left and right are equal, degrees, minutes, etc. They all need to balance out. So let's start just using comments here, right? And just put some stuff down. We know that if we want this to work at a consistent speed, regardless of the game's current frame rate, what comes to mind right now? I'm saying this needs to be frame rate independent. You should be thinking at this stage in your Unity of a method called time.delta time, right? So we know that on the left-hand side, we want X degrees per frame concretely. We know that on the right, we're going to have time.delta time. Doesn't matter if you spell it right here, because this is just sketching. We know that it's time.delta time. I'm going to say comma, because I don't know whether to multiply or divide. This is part of it. I know that I'm going to be using something like 60, because there are 60 seconds in a minute. And we're talking about seconds in time.delta time, and we're talking about minutes up in the parameter that comes in, okay? So we know we have a 60. We know we need a 360 because there are 360 degrees in a rotation, and we're using the word rotation up here. So somehow have to tie rotation to degrees. And what else do we know we need? We also know that we're going to need this rotations per minute. So they're the constituent things, right, that we're going to be using, just as a comment. Now, let's look at it from another angle. Let's look at it from the angle of what are the units? What is degrees per frame? Well, I'm going to write it like this. Degrees, space, frame, shift 6 for the caret, -1. That is degrees, and then raising frame to the power of -1, which is the same as saying degrees over frame. But if we start using overs in this, it's going to get really confusing, because the moment you've done a divide and then I've got something else. Now, what do I mean here? If I say times something else, oops, hang on, I'm in non-insert mode. If I now say times something else, suddenly got really confusing, right? Do I mean degrees per frame times something else, in which case the something else is on the top of the equation, or do I mean degrees divided by frames times something else, in which case something else suddenly is on the bottom of the equation? Very ambiguous, not very nice. The whole point of this technique I'm showing you is to avoid that ambiguity. So, write degrees, frame to the -1. Keep it all on the top of the equation. Okay, time.delta time. We know that this is in seconds per frame. Now, frame isn't actually a unit or a dimension as far as physics is concerned. Frame is just a concept. It doesn't have any units or dimensions. But we're trying to match words to units and dimensions and numbers here. And this process works. So time.delta time is in seconds per frame. Now, I'm going to use a comma again because I don't yet know whether the 60 should be on the top or the bottom. But what is 60? 60 is seconds per minute. So minute to the -1. All right? Now, I want you to finish this. This is the challenge. I want you to finish spin me using this same idea. if it works, the windmill blades rotate at 1 RPM, and use dimensional checking to help you. To finalize that, to give you the last piece, what you're going to need to do when you've put these other two things in with commas is change them to either timeses or divides, depending on whether you ultimately want these things to stay on the top, to be cancelled out or not. So if we times seconds per minute by seconds per frame, what do we get? What do I get if I times seconds per minute by seconds per frame? Let me just put that on another line, just to make sure that you understand this. If we try and do seconds per frame times seconds per minute, what we get is seconds squared, which we don't want, and then we get frame to the -1 because it's still on the top. And because we multiplied, we end up with minute to the -1 on the top as well. I've put in some extra spaces. Not what we want. How about if we did seconds per frame divided by seconds per minute? Well, what happens now is that the seconds disappear because that divides away from that. And now you have frame to the -1 and then minute not to the -1 because dividing by something to the -1 puts it back on the top. Okay, so that's the type of simple algebra that we need, that is worth considering being able to do in comments. Now, you could do it on a piece of paper. I could show you that on a piece of paper, standard maths and cancelling and dividing through, very much, in fact, like the Wikipedia article will be showing you here with cancelling these. This is exactly what we're doing. But I'm just doing it in comments because it's where we're coding, it's where we're living, all right? So I'm starting with this, comma. I'm going to use commas to start with and turn them into divides or timeses depending on how we want things to cancel out. And I want you to have a go without hacking at it. What you'll often find that you do with this sort of thing is you just hack at it until it works. Well, this will allow you to do it a little bit more formally. If the formulas get too big, you'll spend forever trying to find the right permutations of things to get the right answer. Use a system like this, much, much easier. And of course, test it at the end and make sure that it works. So go ahead, pause the video, see if you can write that and get this thing rotating in X. It'll be really weird in the X axis. And if you want, go ahead and do it for Y and Z at the same time. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, welcome back. So I'm just going to update the bottom of the video so that we know we are doing the challenge. We have also already talked about why we keep root objects at the scale of 111. We talked about that with the windmill. So let me show you the challenge solution. So we have seconds per minute. Then we have 360 degrees per rotation. Use exactly the same words as you used in all your variable names. Degrees per rotation. And the final thing we have is rotations per minute. Okay. We're nearly there. Now what we need to do is say, okay, what does this mean we need in terms of multiplies and divides? Well, we want to end up with no minutes on the left-hand side. So our minutes have got to disappear somewhere. And also we need to cancel out this seconds with this second. So I'm going to go for a divide here. That means that we're just looking at what I've highlighted. The seconds has disappeared and we have frames to the -1 times minute. So we're good. We've got the frames to the -1. We've got an extra pesky minute hanging around. How are we going to get rid of that minute? Well, we can multiply by rotation per minute over here. And then we're doing nicely. Let's break this down one thing at a time. So what we've currently got is degrees per frame equals, I've done this, seconds per frame over seconds to the minute to the -1. What is that? Well, it's just frame to the -1 minute. Okay? That's what we've got so far from these two. If I then multiply that by degrees per rotation and multiply by rotation per minute, let's do one more line of working so you can see all the maths working. What happens? Well, the rotations cancel here and the minutes cancel here and here, and we end up with frames to the -1 times degrees, which is the same as degrees per frame. We're good. So we know that this is divide, this is multiply, and that's multiply. Because we already kind of wrote it out at the top, we're pretty much home free. We have time.delta time, which is a property of the time class, divided by 60 times 360. Now these are magic numbers right in our code here. Arguably you don't use any number larger than 2 in your code. We could parameterize these, but I'm not planning on changing the number of seconds per minute or the number of degrees in a circle anytime soon. I neither have the authority nor the ability to do that, so I'm going to leave these because they are pretty hard coded into the way that we work on this planet. All right, and then the final thing is this X rotations per minute. We multiply up by that, and we should be good. I'm going to leave the working there and make sure that with a setting of 1 in the X rotation, that we actually do end up with the windmill doing something really squiffy and strange once per minute. And it's going to be hard to tell with once per minute, but it's going to be very easy to tell with once per second. So let's just try it at once per minute. What does it do? Who knows? But if we go to 60, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. It looks a bit fast to me. 6, 7, 8, 9. No, I think it's about right. All right, that's cool. So now all I do is, of course, apply exactly the same formula with a tiny transposition of the this X to a Y to the other 2 lines. Hang on. Oh, mishandling the keyboard here altogether. Let's try that once more. We pop that in there. Change that to Y. Pop that in there. Change it to Z, and I think we're going to be home free. Let's go ahead and try it in the game. Play the game. What have I done wrong? Something silly. I have left in a semicolon and a 0. Let's have a look at the windmill. Hopefully it will have its desired effect of looking, there you go, there it is, it's spinning. It's spinning mainly around X, but I've put enough Y rotation in here to make it just look off. And that's the idea, is the player just sees it as that's weird, and that fits in with the design of our game. So that's it. We've done it. Congratulations on getting this far, and I will see you in the next video. Bloody hell. Excuse me. Okay, so now I need to record the beginning of the video counterintuitively. Let's do that real quick. Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video, we are going to be producing a windmill with a slightly strangely spinning set of blades like this. We will update the actual windmill model so that the blades are separate, and then we're going to write a spin me script that you're welcome to use on any game object that you want to rotate, that you can set RPM on and give it a couple of axes of rotation to make this slightly weird, purposefully slightly weird rotation. So let's dive in and see how that's done. Okay, so that's done. Now I'm thinking close Unity because I don't want the state to change at all. Now close Visual Studio because I need to make sure that when you start your next video, you're in exactly the same position as me. Now I need to start thinking about committing those changes. And this is where I switch back to 2560. And this is also where I sit down, so hang on. And then I'm going to go for a cup of tea soon. Pretty hungry and pretty thirsty. So the camera's still working, which is good news. Now I get the desk to a height where I'm all comfy. Unlock my cool seat. Okay, I will check the chat real quick. Skibbity-bibbity, check the gate. Don't know. I think you're not talking about my stream, which I don't blame you because it must be as boring as you like. Okay. Now, let's have a look over here in Discord, see how you guys are going. Again, you're probably talking about other things rather than just my boring stuff. In fact, nobody's saying anything on Discord, which is probably good. I would rather we just talk about this stream on the YouTube channel, actually. So I'm going to close Discord and completely ignore you guys over there. Sorry, I love you to bits, but I need to focus. That was pretty painless. I'm guessing it gets worse than that. Well, I hope not. That's the point. I hope nothing gets too bad refraction. If anything is too difficult a concept, you just need to break it down again. So to a lot of people, that is a heavy concept. Hopefully I'm able to communicate it clearly. That's my job. I really don't think that even rocket science is that difficult. Anything can be broken down. So when are you going to stop working this weekend and play video games? I have already been playing some games. I will be playing Rayman and Horizon Zero Dawn later with the family. Yeah, it's quite motivating having Rick over in Australia. You see, he's been cranking, to use a technical term, and getting lots of videos out. So my face only comes up to here on the screen, and he's done all these videos. And, he's going to wake up soon, and I want to have a whole bunch of videos for him. So, All right, let's get on with the stuff that has to be done. We have lots of automation, but still stuff is pretty manual. So help writing physics code is the name of the video. Now I need to be careful because that's my download package. So I need to copy my Camtasia template, iterate the video number carefully to 16, name the folder. Come on. Ugh, didn't copy it right. Name the folder. Boom. Take the folder name including put the download package into it. Take the folder name including our UVR, our unique video reference at the front, which is wrong. Yes, it is wrong. It needs to be 16_2 for section 2. We've just changed the way our references work to help our automation code. That's correct. Name the Camtasia project the same as the folder. I might as well zip up this windmill asset that I promised to give you guys right now. So we send that to a compressed folder. That's cool. Put that in the uploads queue, and that's that done. I need to go get this slide. Now, eventually we're going to be doing 4K recording. So this PNG would be coming down from Google Docs in 4K, but at the moment we're sticking with 1080p. 4K HDR will be the next quality bump in our videos for the YouTube people. Udemy will be a while, I suspect, getting to that, but YouTube will be able to do that, which is pretty freaking cool. Okie dokie. Now I need to pop into my other folder, downloads, grab that PNG, pop it in. All right, so now it's time to just do the actual recording, editing rather of the video. So let's go get the video pieces. I think that was a single piece recording in the end, or was it? No, it was a 2-piece recording. And I'm still recording. Now I need to stop recording on the right OBS. Wow, this is a lot going on. Stop recording on OBS. Close OBS. Wicked. I noticed the file size was still going up. The cool thing is that's being streamed straight into a Dropbox folder. So this is already, the constituent videos are already heading to Dropbox for backup and also for other instructors to be able to see and help me with this necessary. Okay, so let's get these constituent video parts into Camtasia, my editing program. Now let's see which one was first. 07, 1642. That one came first. That's where I find out it was all far too long. Hopefully not. Well, in total, we've got 26 minutes, but a lot of that's going to be chomped out in a minute. So first thing, we put the end of the video on the beginning. So let's do that. My other folder, downloads. Oh, yeah, there's all this rubbish as well. Because I forgot to stop recording. So let's trim that off the end straight away. In the next video. So that's where I start the intro. I do the intro at the end because then I can show you what I've actually done in that video without any guesswork or particular preparation. So now I just go through lean. I don't worry about the rest of the stuff to the right because I'm not at it yet. One thing I do tend to do is just normalize this sound, although it's looking pretty solid actually, the sound right now. Maybe bump it up at just a tiny bit, but basically I don't need to mess with it. If I have to mess with it, it means the microphone's set up wrong, right? Anything that means I have to do processing means the microphone, or means something is set up wrong. But some of these bits are necessary. Oh, I forgot to change the template on the front there. Uh-oh. Now I'm hitting wrong buttons. Always happens. Okay, media. Let's just update the media of the slide. Hey guys, welcome back. So in the... See how that's done. Cool, so that's the beginning of the intro. Let's just bring on the transitions. Wicked. All right, let's do it. Some fades. And see how that's done. Fade down, fade okay, in. Guys, so welcome back. What we're going to be doing here then. Okay, that's good. Now I've got to work out where I went off the rails. X rotations, Y rotations, and Z rotations per minute. I've put some default values in, 5 rotations per minute for the main blades. And I've also put a bit of a rotation on the Y axis. I'm actually going to just change that to 1. And that's where I found out I repeated myself a bit. Oh no, it's okay. I'm all right. Dimensions versus units versus SI units. That doesn't matter. What I want to show you when we get into this utility script, which you'll find in the utility folder called SpinMe, is I just want to show you an approach to use. I think I'm going to split there. Start recording. Now the camera hopefully will work and not crap out again, but if it does, well, I won't notice, so sorry. Okay. Started with a bit of a different tone there, but can't be helped. Try and make this cut as seamless as possible. An approach to use unit consistency of units to units versus SI units. That doesn't matter. What I want to show you when we get into this utility script, which you'll find in the utility folder called SpinMe, is I just want to show you an approach to use unit consistency of units to help you code. All right. So I think, so normally, it's why I often restart videos if they go wrong, is it can take just as long to edit as it would to redo. So in this particular case, I decided to edit, but often it's better just to start at the beginning. Y rotation in here to make it just look off at the next video. And I will see you in the next video. So that's the end video. Now, because I'm doing this editing straight away, I don't get somebody else to do it, because if I was to get somebody else to do it, the chances are we get really bad at recording for editing. And I've got all this in my head at the moment as to where the issues in the video may be. There's really no point in anybody else picking this up. What I aim to do is be a little more smooth than I was just then, and then you don't need to spend much time at all editing. I'm also going to do a social media preview, so let me just find out what's exciting in there. Now, for any exciting... this is a brand new thing, this social media preview video. The actual windmill model, so that the blade, you can set RPM on and give it a couple of axes of to rotate. It's a separate, and then slightly strange. Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video, we are going to be back. So in probably from here. In this video, we are going to be producing a windmill with a slightly strangely spinning set of blades. It's like this. We will update spinning set of blades like this. It's like this. That's enough for a tiny social media snippet. So I produced the selection like so. Pop it in downloads in this case. We don't have automation for the social media snippets at the moment. So there's a trailer there. Won't take long to render that, it's tiny. While it's rendering, I may as well name properly my commit. And commit that commit. Actually, I need to push it to GitHub as well. Actually, hang on, I need to stay in Camtasia. So I need to save that commit. All the changes. This is how we make sure that our videos are completely consistent between videos. And then I'm going to push that up to the web so that our automation script can use it to link you guys out to the GitHub repo. That is cool. I've got my snippet, so I am nearly ready to go. On the render. When I render, I'm just going to leave the room and just have a break. So before I start the render, which is the last thing I have to do because it just renders and I just leave it with it, I'm going to check the camera's still streaming. It is. I have committed already. That's cool. So I need to do the social media, which we are going to automate at some point. I do have some automation on here. I have got the video name. So VJA, video just added, RPG. Now you ask about shortcuts. This is using something called Text Expander. And that takes the contents of the clipboard and adds a load of stuff to it. And yeah, Text Expander by Smile Software. So that helps me fill out my buffer without too much hassle. Helping write physics code added to our RPG. Course, sign up for the launch offer on there. That is the mail list sign up. I better check that works actually. Does that work? Should work. Yes, it does, and it ticks your RPG preference. If you want that link, by the way, if you want to get an email, so sign up, you can use it here. Use the buffer link. Okay, so I need to now add this trailer video that I just made. This will all be automated shortly. just a tiny little trailer. Uploads a tiny few second snippet. Generates the thumbnails. Okay, that's cool. So not to waste any time, I'm going to go and make a new question. For every time we make a video, we make a question about it. I need to think about what's going to cement your learning here. And it'll just be a simple question about units using something completely different. So I'll do that in a second when this buffer is finished. Add to queue. So that's the social media done. I am basically there, which is pretty cool. Now, let's write this question. So, what would the units of the following be? Question mark. Now, let's just do any old funny stuff. So we go, I don't know, let's have cats per box multiplied by boxes or box per, I don't know what, car, whatever, divided by, you know, cars per lane, whatever. So what do we have? If we have cats per box times box per car divided by cats per lane. Well, let's, now I need a coin. I haven't got a coin on me to work out what the correct answer to this, because as humans, we are rubbish at randomizing quiz answers. So I use binary coding. I haven't got a coin, so I'm going to use a USB stick from my gadget box, and I'm going to say that the logo is heads, and that's a 1 in binary. So I'm going to flip it twice. 1. So this is going to make a binary number for the answer. 0. So 1, 0 is 2 in binary. So question number 2 is going to be the correct one. So I decide that ahead of time. And the correct answer here is what? It is cats, boxes go, cars go. It's cats per lane. I mucked up the keyboard. Cats per lane. Okay, now for the rest of the answers, I just kind of take the correct answer and start messing it around. Cats lane, I go cats to the -1 lane, to the -1, and maybe just cats to the -1 lane, something like that. So they're all pretty similar, but there's plenty of what we call red herrings in there. I can't link it to the video yet. We'll have to do that later, but I've written my quiz question, which is the important thing. I have forgotten to say what's the correct answer. I'm just going to check this. Is it cats lane to the -1? No, it's not, because of the divide. Naughty, naughty. That is not the correct answer. It is boxes go, cars to the -1, so it's cars to the -2. That is very confusing. I'm just going to put a times in, then I'm right. The cars now go, and it is now cats per lane. I'm going to do it like that. Ditch the divide. And that's it. So the quiz question is good to go. Now, we are pretty much there. We are there. I have done everything I need to do in this video. I've committed. So all I do now is I start the render, and this could make my machine come to its knees. And I just do that. And I'm actually done now, pretty much. What's going to happen here is this is going to render into Dropbox. And then our automation system is going to pick that up in Dropbox. It is going to come in and create a Udemy lecture for us. It is going to upload the video to Udemy. It is going to link the video to both the lecture discussions and the lecture project changes on GitHub. And then I'll just have to come in and pop the description on, check it all looks good, and publish it. And eventually it will also publish to YouTube for us and any other platforms that we are on. So that is that. I am going to go and have a break in a second. The computer slows down when I'm rendering anyway. So let's just check Twitter, see if there's anything exciting going on there. Yeah, no. What's over here? Ben, how you now have exactly 1K followers on GitHub. Wow, that's more than I had last time I checked. I haven't checked for ages. Thank you for letting me know. GitHub profile is a shortcut I've got. Do I? 1K. Wow, awesome. Thank you. Saw the counter, couldn't resist. Well, that's cool. I've been pretty busy lately. Oh, why is this? No contributions all last week. Is that true? It is. Oh my God, it is, you know. I haven't contributed to a master branch since Friday the 5th of March, and that's because I've been too busy prototyping. Oh, well, that's okay. That's what happens. I was about to boast about how busy I've been making actual content, but I haven't. Although I have been working like mad, I've not been busy making actual content. So let's check the automation system has picked up this new video. Probably hasn't, because it hasn't finished rendering yet. No. All right, guys, that's it. I think I'm going to leave that here. That's quite a long stream. If these things go too long, you can't edit them on YouTube. It's been really nice to have you. Hopefully you like these weird 360-degree things. I will try and put it over my shoulder. I will try and change this syncing at some point. I'll make myself a note to do that. That's a little bit tricky. Yeah. Otherwise, it's cool. Nice to have you with me, and I'm going to go and have a quick break and a snack now, say hello to the family, and then I'll be back to continue popping out videos for the RPG. So that's my life, and I will see you soon, guys. I'll sign out, if I can work out what button to press. I probably should sign out by going to YouTube. I'll stop streaming and then go to YouTube and check. So, all right, guys, nice to see you.